Hey, everybody. This week, we would like to thank our sponsor, wildgrain.com. Wild Grain is the first ever bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries. Every item bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less, no thawing required. For a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa. Wildgrain.com/papa to start your subscription. You heard me, free croissants and $30 off your first box. That's wildgrain.com/papa. Or you can use the promo code PAPA at checkout. Thank you to the good people at Wild Grain. We'd also like to thank the good people at nuts.com. Where's the bag, Joey? Give me the big bag. If you're a snacker and haven't heard of nuts.com, listen up. Of course, they have an amazing variety of nuts, but that's not all. They got cool packaging. Look at that. The coolest. It really is fun. You go to the website and you pick out everything that you want. Flavored popcorn, nuts, healthy snacks, whatever you want. Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with the purchase and free shipping on orders of $29 or more at Nuts.com/Papa. Flavored popcorn, beautiful squares, fruit leather, almonds, cashews. So go check out all the delicious options at Nuts.com/Papa. You'll receive a free gift and free shipping when you spend $29 or more. That's Nuts.com/Papa.
It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show. Hey.
Thanks for coming. I know this is a crazy week. There's so much going on. I'm glad you snuck it in.
It feels like the Netflix is a joke festival. Feels to me like summer camp for comedians.
Yeah.
We don't get to do this enough, and especially when you get to a certain level, and this is real first world problems. I'm sure lots of guys starting out in the clubs are watching this. But when you get to a theatre level, you're kind of isolated.
Yeah.
You're kind of hermetically sealed, and you go out and you do your show, and then to be around other people.
I know.
And it's my favorite line. Alan Havey gave it to me in comedy, where out for ourselves, but in it together.
Wow.
There's a lovely camaraderie in comedy.
There is.
And you kind of bump into it. Like last night at the store. Like,
yeah.
It was like killers. It was
I
you
know.
were on, Sebastian was on.
Martin Lawrence was on before me.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. John Mulaney's doing pop-ups. But you go... There's something about actors where they're so in competition with each other.
Yeah.
And with comedians, it's escape competition through authenticity.
Yeah.
So we're just ourselves, but through sort of finding your own voice, you kind of go, yeah, well, no one does this better than me.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not like this, but I'm doing it well.
Yeah. I know whenever people say, well, you're in comedy, well, oh, that's a competitive business. And yeah, like there's, in certain degrees, you're kind of competing just with the market. You're not like, I'm not competing with you.
But I think it's the wrong end of the telescope as well.
Yeah.
Everyone's always looking at, oh, this guy just sold out 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. And you go, yeah, but you make a living doing dick jokes. What? You don't have, you get up at noon.
Yeah.
What are you, you're comparing it to the wrong thing. We never kind of look back at the guys we started with and somehow it didn't work out. Somehow that didn't, it didn't fall right for them, or they got distracted or something else happened.
Yeah. We were saying that we were at the comedy brunch where all the comedians from the festival get to go to Ted Sarandos for a brunch.
Yeah.
And we both had that moment of how great that we're here. This is like, just take this in. You've got Chappelle walking over there, and you've got Leanne Morgan over there, and you've got all these great people, just Kevin Hart, and I'm eating with you.
Yeah,
and it's just like
waffles with
this is insane. Yeah, this is insane that we're all here. This is very special.
Well, it feels like that thing with stand-up for me. I don't know how you feel about your career. How long have you been in stand-up?
30 years.
30 years, yeah. I'm not quite, maybe 25.
Right.
But it's that thing where you kind of go, I feel like we've ridden a wave. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's us. I think we came along at a very, like the gratitude to go, comedy's very new anyway. I mean, trace it back to, I think sort of the two John the Baptists are Richard Pryor and George Carlin. But I mean, you can trace it back further, obviously.
Yeah.
So many, Mort Saul and Lenny Bruce and all those guys.
Mark Twain, in a way.
Yeah, Mark Twain toured, basically.
Exactly.
But the idea that you go, these guys kind of did what we did, traveled around, played rooms.
Yeah.
It feels like the growth in that didn't used to be an option. Going to comedy, when I was 20, wasn't really a thing.
Yeah. No, it's very new. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the state of comedy, because I've just got off my radio show for Netflix, and I'm going through what's going on just tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy. Isn't
It's insane. It's 50 shows, 10 of which are some of the biggest names in comedy.
But I mean, you
And
say
then-
comedy, but you go, expand that out. You go, I'll go toe to toe with a rock promoter and talk about who can fill an arena.
Right.
I think I can name more comedians that could fill arenas in,
Yeah.
around the world as well. You know, in Australia, in London, in New York, anywhere.
Yeah.
I think there's more comics that could do it than rock bands now, and it's
wild.
It's a strange thing because it feels like it's the authenticity that's very attractive
Yeah.
of comics, and you go, it's a very personal thing, your choice in comedy, because you don't really choose your sense of humor. You know what you find funny, and you go, the people that really make you belly laugh.
Right.
And that thing of like you buy the ticket. As soon as you have the ticket, it's already kind of giving you value because you're going, it's an intention
Right.
to go and to laugh. And with the, like, oh, all right, we're going to go and see this. And we saw the last one. And I always think the show is an advert for the next tour.
Right. I know. Yeah, for
like,
when you come through again.
Well, you already
I
bought the
know.
ticket. I don't have
It's
to
really
say anything
endless
funny
that
tonight.
way.
Yeah.
I know, exactly.
But that thing of like people want to kind of
Yeah.
come out and have a good time and feel that,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I've said it before, like I see us as drug dealers.
Right.
Dopamine and serotonin.
Yeah.
And people come and we can kind of work the magic.
Yeah.
And get them in that kind of, it's almost like a fugue state of like, and it's very performative being in the audience.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of comics take that into consideration. But
I know.
You know, the way that you direct them on, I was watching Sebastian last night, direct the crowd with these kind of sort of elaborate body movements.
Yeah.
You go, that's so perfect for this joke.
Yeah.
The facial expression, the whole, it's just,
I know. Do you think that it's how comedy is dispensed that has given it this moment also? The Netflix of it all?
I think YouTube was
YouTube.
very interesting because YouTube's become the biggest television channel in the world, and it happened while NBC and ABC were fighting over Saturday night viewing figures,
Right.
and something over here just
Yeah.
net the whole thing. And if you think about it, it's almost like it used to be called TV schedulers that would decide when things were on.
Yeah.
And what would come after what. And now everyone is their own scheduler.
Yeah.
And they decide what they're going to watch. And we did great.
Yeah.
Comics did great. In the
Yeah.
mix of all the things,
Yeah.
comics did great. People like to laugh, it turns out.
Yeah, music doesn't really translate the way that getting a comic on your phone does. Like we're like talking about the moment of where comedy's at.
Yeah.
What we do and the way it's delivered is very unique. This is a very special,
Yeah.
like you're saying, like riding that wave.
Well,
It's like
it's weird how I think the technology as well is it's a proxy. So you watch something on Netflix or on YouTube, and you know it's funny, and you're on your own, isolated, on a bus, on a train, wherever you are,
Yeah.
watching it, and it's good and you enjoy it, but you don't laugh in the same way as when you're in the room. There's something about the tribal coming together.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how the technology, it's almost that feels like it's an advert for the live experience where people go, I'm into this, I
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
Almost in the same way as you used to buy a record
Yeah.
and then you'd want to go and see them live. Now, the music was arguably better on the record.
Right.
But seeing them live was
Yeah.
something about that. And the technology does change. It's the medium is the message. The technology always changes. Like with music, I feel bad for musicians now.
I know.
Because it used to be you'd buy the album, read the sleeve notes, you know everything about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's that thing. Music is now like a scented candle. It's like you put on a playlist and it's just kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And there's some music that, I really try and learn the names of the bands and know what I'm listening, and I listen to all new music.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep up
I
now
know.
because you don't have the physical thing.
Yeah, I know. It's very much do you think this fortunate moment is going to last?
In comedy,
Yeah.
I think it is only getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's only getting bigger, and more people are doing it. And I think there's like there's a career path. There's I'm working on a thing now where I'm writing with my friend Amanda Baker, who sort of directs my live shows, and Abby Grant, who writes with me. And we're working on a book on how to teach comedy. How to teach,
really?
How to write jokes and how to perform.
Oh.
And it's kind of it'll be a long process to get
Sure.
to. But I think that thing about more people entering into this, more people learning it. I mean,
my daughter's in university, and there's a major
in
comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue is, I think a lot of people don't know how to teach. I've read, all the books out there. There's a lot of stuff out there that's kind of, you go, what are you,
Right.
there's nothing in this.
Yeah.
So actually analysing, there's 50 joke types, give or take, and breaking those down and reverse engineering it and giving good examples and saying, right, this is how jokes are written. I think there's a bit too much. There isn't like the language like there is with music. With music, there's set music. This is how music is written.
Right.
And you could go to Nairobi or you can go to Tokyo, and those guys can come together and they can play the same piece of music. It's beautiful. With comedy, we don't have that language. So maybe I'm trying to put something together that would maybe make it easier for people to make a start and go, well, I know there's something funny here. How do I make this into jokes? Because it's often like the jokes are hidden. With me, I'm a one-liner guy.
Yeah.
So everything's a fastball. So you can really see the setup and punch.
Yeah.
Quite old-fashioned in a way. And there's something about when you watch you or you watch Mulaney, there's something about the jokes are in there and they're kind of hidden. So for the audience, it's easy. They go, well, I'm laughing every 30 seconds, but I don't
know
where
why.
Where's the punch? It's so well kind of constructed. It's like,
isn't it interesting? And this has got to be an interesting thing when you're trying to put together a book of how to do it. Because I look at you and am mystified. You're so good, you're so funny, but the construction of it is so different from, like, I feel like I can make a big giant tomato sauce and throw lots of stuff in it and just keep going and blah, blah. And you're making this exquisite pastry that is just the amount of this and just the amount of that. And it seems to me from the outside, it seems like creating an hour of that seems so much harder than what I do.
But again, that's a very flattering analogy in my favor. The analogy in your favor is I'm building with Lego bricks.
Right.
You're carving something out of marble. So you're telling a story in a special, and you're sitting kind of where you are and giving this picture and sharing,
right,
and taking people on an emotional journey. And I'm working on that. Because I've got the fastball, so I'm working on the last special and doing longer bits and being able to kind of perform in a slightly different way. Kind of working with the pace.
I noticed that with your special, which is called Dressed to Kill.
Natural Born Killer, but so close. So close.
I did that to him last night last night I said, killing me softly.
Yeah, Natural Born Killer. But I did it with the previous one as well. I called the previous one His Dark Material.
Yeah.
So I'm just knocking S's off things. Yeah. Seems to be...
No, but in the special's great. They're all great. I'm a huge fan, as you know. And this is why I was actually, when I was heading over here, I was like, this is going to be one of my favorites to sit down and spend time with, because I've been such a fan of yours, and we run into each other, but we never really have had a conversation of any length.
No, because it is that thing of like you're hermetically sealed when you start touring.
Yeah,
we're not in the clubs every night. Shooting the breeze because we're off doing the shows.
Amazing. It's really great. But back to your special, you pull this kid out of the audience. Yeah. You don't pull him out. You're not doing tricks with him, but you're talking to him and you're telling him pretty much how to be a man.
It strikes me that was born out of a conversation I had in COVID with a friend about, and when the whole Me Too thing sort of happened. Yeah. And I felt like a lot of people on the, I suppose, broadly speaking, the left went, this stuff is obvious. Mm-hmm. It's obvious what consent is. It's obvious. And you go, yeah, to you. Yeah. But if you haven't had the conversation and you're full of hormones and you're 17, who's having the conversation with these kids?
Right, exactly.
And to present it in a funny sort of way and go, well, what's the right thing? Yeah, but I mean, it's...
And is that what you mean? Because you still had your jokes, but it was in this broader conversation, a broader kind of... It was a little more thematic.
Yes, it was like...
Is that what you're saying when you're...
Like a 12-minute chunk is huge for me. Yeah. To do something that's on one subject. And obviously my love language is going to be jokes. Yeah. But there's longer kind of bits within that. Yeah. And also imparting something. I think the audience, they're very good at picking up on, that is clearly a joke. And we're laughing at the wrong thing because we know what the right thing is. Right. That's fine. And then there's other stuff that's kind of, there you go, okay, no, he means this. So I'm working on a couple of bits in the new show, in the show that I'm touring now. A couple of new bits that are interesting, that are kind of doing the same thing, like going, okay, I'll tell the jokes to sweeten the pill, and then there's a little point there, and maybe that's might be a time of life thing, might be kind of my 50s and kind of going, I could, I feel like I could say something now and it's not ridiculous.
You have a perspective now.
Yeah.
Right? Don't you find that? Like now I don't want to come off in my comedy as just do what I say, but I kind of know what I'm doing about life. Like there's a different perspective than when I first started.
I think so, yeah. It's a weird thing. I've often sort of thought about comics that I really like Mark Maron and Louis C.K. were ridiculous when they were in their 20s.
Right.
Because there's always something about Mark Maron that was get off my lawn.
Right. Yeah.
And there's something about Louis that's like, it fits him being, it's like somehow like he hit, I don't know, 45, 50 or whatever, and he just hit his stride as this performer because everything just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
And it feels like that happens with a lot of, changing the way that you perform. It's also that thing of like development in comedy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people sort of, not get lazy, but they're good at doing one thing and they kind of stick with that.
Yeah.
And you kind of, there's audience capture. So the audience want this thing, so you keep on feeding that audience and you kind of go deeper, deeper down that road. And I've been as guilty as anyone of that, of going, well, they expect edgy, dark one-liners. Gotcha.
Right.
And then, but doing other things that kind of surprise and, fun. The audience stuff is always great.
It is that thing of being on the outside of, and this is why show business works. It's like you're in show business and then you walk onto someone's set and you're like, oh, this isn't a real restaurant? You guys have like, this is, it always works. Like the mystery of it always works. And watching your act, I'm as deep into comedy as I can be. I watch
generous of you. I mean, I watch
really?
I watch everything. I'm such a huge. Sometimes kind of you meet new comics and you go, how much you watching? Actually, my friend Amanda Baker is always saying this. How much are you watching?
Yeah.
How much are you taking in?
Yeah.
How much are you watching? How much are you aware of new people out there? You should be.
Yeah, you should be
kind of watching it and going, and how's it changing? And I think the big thing that's changed across our careers, I think, is the frequency of the laugh.
Right.
Like that thing of like a 5-minute story with a big laugh at the end is like the almost kind of the attention span, that the way what people are expecting, how funny a thing could be.
Maybe, but I see a lot of young comics kind of really taking their time. Like I've seen some specials, I watch a lot through when people are coming on Netflix and that thing, and there's a lot of times you're like, wow, they've been up there for 5 minutes and there hasn't been a joke yet.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an issue for them.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be.
I do too.
I never think that's an issue on the first special.
Yeah, right.
I think that's when they talk, it's when they, we can name names, but some guys go from arenas back to theaters, back to clubs. It happens.
Right.
Sometimes where you go, you're not delivering the thing. And I think some of that is about the alchemy of comedy. There's a kind of a mysticism of, it just comes to me on stage and he's just a funny guy, and you go, no, learn to read music. Learn how to do the thing, how to when you're on the road as well, you punching up a bit, so you got the initial funny idea that gets a laugh. And I like think of like trying new stuff in clubs. At the store last night, like trying a couple of new bits, and you go, okay, if I just read that, it gets a laugh.
Right.
But there's no performance in that. There's no facial expression. There's no there's no kind of attitude behind it. It's just, okay, that's the line.
Yeah.
Anyone could do that. What can I bring to it?
Yeah.
And you're kind of trying to, get better.
How do you ever think about being more physical in any way?
Yeah.
Because both of us are pretty much, the mic is in the stand. Sometimes you don't even use a mic stand in your special. And I did it intentionally. I used to be really hammy and I was like, let me see if there's material under all of this acting. So then I just kept the mic in the stand. I wanted to see, like, is the material as good as it could possibly be? And it was a great experiment, and it was like it really put the weight on it, but I haven't taken it out since. Well,
it's an interesting thing where where the focus is in the room. So it's that thing, if you go, the less you move, the more your movement matters. If you're running around the stage doing all, how big does it have to be?
Right,
So some people are incredibly theatrical.
Yeah.
With mine, I've noticed a thing of like, I'll have movements for certain jokes. Sorry to get into the weeds, maybe boring
No, I
for
like
listeners,
it.
but that thing of like you have certain things that you do where you kind of beat out what you're expecting the audience to kind of do.
Yeah.
And it really helps with the performance of the joke and kind of remembering the physicality of it.
Yeah.
Really helps. But it helps, I think, working with a director.
Yeah.
You know, working with someone that's going to sort of sit with you and go, yeah, that joke it's not delivering because it's, sometimes when a special is boring as well, and sometimes some specials are boring, it's because you go, well, you're just doing pullback reveals. You're doing the same sort of joke.
Right.
You've got 8 of them in a special. What are you doing?
Right.
And 2 of them are back to back.
Yeah.
Dude, the audience is never going to go, there aren't enough joke types
Right.
in this show.
Yeah.
But they will go,
While we're in the weeds, I'm going to ask you a question that's going to take us a little deeper. I've seen you say that the great public speakers, that the secret is, I believe, 92 beats per minute.
well, this is all Amanda. So Amanda and I work together with Abby Grant as well. And Amanda Baker is a jazz musician. She's a great friend of mine and, directs the live show. So she's a jazz musician. So she's always she's much more when she's directing my shows like, yeah, you do the jokes. Jokes are great. But there's no performance in it. What's the rhythm of this? What words are you hitting in that? What's the cadence of the speech? So that's kind of what we're working on.
That's a deep one.
I mean, because you of like,
yeah.
How do you? What makes a speaker great? What makes it? Kind of knowing how to communicate. And it's not really about how fast you're speaking.
Right.
It's about what you're hitting, and the point. What word is coming at the end of the joke is so bizarrely important.
Yeah, but it's innate.
The joke maths.
But for us, I mean, to hear you put math on it at the end is kind of like, wait, what? Do I do that? Like, because it's just naturally our cadence. We've kind of created a rhythm for the way we work.
Yeah, but it's so different actually. And watching you kind of go on at the store last night, and you get to the stage, and it's your room.
Right.
It's your room. It's your rhythm, and you're kind of controlling it.
Yeah.
So it's that. Who had the best line on this? Ron White had the best line. If you're doing badly, slow down. Mm-hmm. If you're doing well, slow down.
Right. I know.
Everyone's like, hey, it's all a bit,
like me.
They haven't heard it. They haven't heard this.
Right.
I know you've heard it. You even know what the punchline is.
Yeah.
Just relax, everyone.
I know, it's really true. Yeah, that pure thing. It's so great that you can be this far in and you're constantly relearning the lessons, like
It's not even
every
relearning.
year.
I think it's that thing of like, it's the reason to do the project and to write something and maybe teach a course. The reason to do it is to go, well, you're aware of it. Kind of, there's unconscious competence, so you can do it, but you're not quite sure how you do it. And then there's conscious competence, so you really got to think about it. But if you can do something, but teaching something, you really learn it.
Yeah.
Because you go, well, how can I explain this simply?
Yeah.
Because I think if it's a big, complicated explanation, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. And it is interesting, kind of in my act that way, when it's the same thing, is sometimes a joke won't hit and you're like, and you realize, oh no, you're not telling them exactly what you have, all this background information for this joke in your head. Think of the words. If you're just sitting out there for the first time, you're not telling them exactly what this is about. Just give them everything.
And actually, what's the key word? Because often a joke will just have a turn.
Yeah.
It's got a turn. So it's turning on that word, that piece of wordplay. You need to remember. That's the thing they need to remember. And if you're not hitting that on the beat, then it gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And that,
Right, exactly. Yeah, if you're going along and you just garble a word, it's like the whole structure falls apart.
That weird thing of like going, I messed up one word in the setup, and it got 40% of the laugh. Why should that relate? It's still the same funny idea.
Yeah.
Well, because it's a performance.
Yeah, and they're thinking about it.
It's a piece of music and there's a bum note in it.
Yeah.
Of course it's not as enjoyable.
It was interesting watching the roast the other night.
I loved it.
The tighter the performer was with their jokes, the better it went.
I mean,
if you were looser,
I was hanging out with Nikki Glazer the day before, and it was the subbing down, and I think she probably pound for pound did the best on the show, and it's because it was 5 minutes and all killer,
all killer.
Yeah,
no space, no fumbling. and executed perfectly.
Yeah, it was-
flawlessly.
Yes, yeah.
Because there were other people that had some good jokes and stuff, but the garble thing, like it kind of didn't come out, or it was couched with some extra stuff, not as potent.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Affleck was, that was something. I was convinced. I was with Shane Gillis watching it, and we were kind of, this is going bad. And I was convinced. I said, no. What's going to happen is Matt Damon's going to come out, and he's going to be the guy he's talking about shit talking online, and there's going to be a clearly he's not having a breakdown. He's doing a bit. He's an actor. Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
How wrong could you be?
It was the perfect example of thinking it's going to go great without having Nikki obviously ran those jokes for weeks before she got there. Tight.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, it's funny enough and get up there and think it's going to go. A lot of paraphrasing your ideas.
And Tony Hinchcliffe just kind of got up and sit next to Dan, and he's in the audience.
Yep.
So it's even better because you kind of go, the audience are going, he's just a guy this is all just off the top of his head.
I know.
Where's this coming from?
I know. Oh, precision is a thing. It really is a thing. You can't.
Yeah,
it's so valuable.
It really is.
Do you live your life with precision?
I don't think so. No, not. I think this is.
You're very put together
thing.
You always look sharp.
But I think that's part of the. It's a very visual medium. So I always like it when. Actually, I like it on your specials when you dress up, like when you dress up for the special. Like seeing you perform in casual clothes last night.
Yeah,
those guys really good. But I like it when you've got a shirt and tie on. Because it's that thing of I said it to Sebastian. His last special, he turned up in black tie,
right?
And you turn on the special and you walk out. You're suited and booted.
Yeah,
we can all relax. This guy's a professional.
It's really true.
We don't have to.
It's
and
really
someone walks out in a sweatshirt. I go, well, let's see.
Right?
You
better bring it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How is your suit game now? The problem is you look so good in a suit. You look perfect build. You look like Cary Grant.
But no man has ever looked better than in a suit. It's
whatever version of that guy is.
Yeah, it's like that's the best you can. We've hit upon. This is it.
You're right.
At what stage does Wilder's fashion fall away, and you just go, I just need a suit.
Just put a suit on me. No. How do you run your suit game in your everyday life? And what is your packing like? You've been here for a week and a half.
Yeah, my packing's pretty light.
It is light.
Yeah, spare shirts, just shirts, and the suit's great.
It's been the one suit the whole time.
Yeah, and I'll change it out tonight for the show, but because my tour manager's with me, he'll have a spare. But yeah, it's great. Tom Sweeney, shout out to Tom Sweeney, my tailor.
That's
God
so
bless
great.
them.
I'm going to need shirts and shoes and suits, and I'm going to have a trunk when I tour.
I like that thing of like hand luggage only. And being very, very light and quick through the airports and yeah.
But
it's
still
nice that thing of I like the suit as well. Just wearing I don't know. It feels very comfortable to me.
Yeah. Where do you get your shirts?
My tailor, Tom Sweeney.
That can make or break your experience during the day in a suit.
Yeah, I would say
having a starchy kind of uncomfortable thing. You're all of a sudden now you're. Yeah. Back in second grade, thinking, why'd they dress me up?
Yeah, but it's also that I suppose that thing of like stand up being quite a visual medium, and what do the audience think when you wander on stage?
Yeah,
because they've already made a decision about you
right
by the time you get to the mic.
Yeah,
it's kind of I suppose that thing of like that's with most things as well. If you're a salesman or trying to pitch something or whatever, or going on a date.
Yeah,
it's kind of a date, right? We're all dressing up.
Are you taking notes on this, Joey? Oh yeah. Maybe no short sleeves when you're working the board.
Okay. Yes, he's dressed as a toddler, as are many American men.
I know.
Everyone seems to have gone. Comfort is the yes. I understand you want to be comfortable,
right?
But you're at work right now.
Right.
Is that the most important thing?
Yeah,
it's all about.
You have a job.
Dress up.
Yeah, exactly. Did you always go suit?
Yeah,
pretty early?
Pretty early on, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty early on. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if I...
It would be so weird if you rolled out in a tracksuit.
Isn't life simple, though? Mm-hmm. Where you just take the decision out of it. You just go, well, I don't need to make any decisions about
100%.
what shall I wear tonight?
Yeah. what colors are going to go with this. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do it. So you're not that methodical in your everyday life, though. Like you now have a family.
Yeah.
Are you at night? Can you go to sleep with the kitchen dirty?
I mean, yeah, you're being crazy now. No, I don't. I'm fairly kind of. I don't think I'm that uptight. I mean, I think having kids maybe relaxes you a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, so you can kind of.
I railed against it.
Did you?
We're cleaning this place up. I need things in their place. I need
Right.
things kind of orderly.
Yeah, I'm pretty ordered, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of like things my way, but I don't
Right.
know. I don't know. I mean, it's that thing as well where you go, well, it's fine, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's always okay.
Yeah.
I'm fairly relaxed about that. I mean, it's like you choose what to worry about in life as well. You can only worry about so much.
What's your big worry now?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to be more stoic in life. I'm trying to just focus on the thing that matters, and that's for me stand-up, and writing jokes is the thing that makes a difference. So what's actually going to move the dial? I was listening to Tim Ferriss talk on a thing recently.
Oh, yeah?
And he was talking about efficiency and effectiveness.
Uh-huh.
And efficiency is how you do things, but effectiveness is what you do. So there's a lot of people doing things very efficiently.
Right.
It's nonsense. It's not their job.
Right.
It's not their job. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
There's a great story about two comics like backstage at some club, pissing and moaning about like someone's manager didn't get them the booking and someone's blaming their agent for something and they should be doing more and they should have a deal with something.
Yeah.
And Dave Attell kind of wandered past and just went, "Be funnier." Isn't that? It's very. I mean, I'm not sure how much Marcus Aurelius Attell reads on a regular basis, but it strikes me as like,
Right.
what a brilliant remark.
Yeah.
Because there's only one thing that matters here. There's only one metric.
That's right.
That and actually as comics, you kind of go, the other stuff doesn't really.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Do you have to fend off distractions from sticking to the stand-up? I know you've hosted shows and you must get
TV
offered
shows
things.
That's a lovely kind of bit of gravy. That's
Yeah.
a lovely side hustle, which I think for a long time people thought was the main thing.
Yeah.
You go, no, stand-up's the main thing. I always kind of kept it
Yeah.
going. Not really. I mean, there's not much in the way of distractions.
Right.
In terms of, I don't get offered things that I'm tempted by.
You're never like, I should start auditioning for things.
No.
I should start
Actually,
acting.
I kind of stopped probably 3-4 years ago going to meetings in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
I don't really do meetings
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
kind of pointless.
Yeah, and I've had so many meetings about things that are definitely going to happen. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. It's not a question. You could. James Gordon said a great thing to me. One time we were having lunch, and he said the problem with Los Angeles is you could die of encouragement. It's like they're just so. Oh, this is amazing.
So
Is it?
excited you're here. So
Yeah.
excited. Everyone's always excited.
It strikes me that what's better, being an actor or a comedian. Well, being a comedian's better because you're in charge. You're not waiting for someone to bring you flowers. You plant your own garden.
Right.
What's better, being a TV host or being a podcaster? Being a podcaster is better because you decide what the show is and how the show is, and is that not perfect? It's the where's the locus of control here?
Yeah.
What are you in charge of?
The fewer number of meetings
yeah.
really determines your
Yeah,
happiness.
and the kind of auteur thing of just going, well, with the internet now and with Netflix or whatever, you find your audience.
Yeah.
The people that like you. So you don't have to compromise or
Right.
have a meeting with a studio executive to go, well, we're going to have to take that joke out
Right.
because it's a little bit offensive. Not to my audience. They love it. They can't believe I said it.
Exactly. I had a show on the Food Network. They were pitching for me to be because of my bread and stuff, and they said, yeah, they love the idea. They love the idea of you going around and talking with bakers around the country, and it's they're very excited about it. They don't want to mention that you're a comedian. I was like, so why am I here? Like, you want me to pretend I'm not, like, I just like cake? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, and we're not sure about the name. Yeah, but we're not sure. Mr. Bake. We're going to call you Mr. Bake. What are you talking about?
We would like to thank the good people at Wild Grain, wildgrain.com. Beautiful company. Look, we love bread here. We're always making bread. We're always sharing bread. And often we've thought, how could we get this bread out to people? Wildgrain.com figured it out. They ship you these breads. They ship you these pastas. They come, the cookies. They come, you get this nice little bread. You get this beautiful, whatever you choose, say a sourdough loaf or a sourdough cranberry loaf. And it comes and you put it in the freezer. You get your whole order, you stick the stuff in the freezer, and you're looking around. I myself look around when I come off the road and I don't have bread around. And you think, well, that's going to be 2 days before I can make some bread. Or I open the refrigerator, go to the freezer, take out this loaf, don't even have to thaw it, just put it in the oven, heat it up, and you've got this really quality bread right there at your fingertips, just from wildgrain.com. It really is a great company. I don't know how they figured it out. I'm a little upset that I didn't figure it out. They're the first ever bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries. Every item bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less, and you can now fully customize your wild grain box. So you can choose any combination of breads, pastas, pastries. You can even build a box of only breads, only pastas, and only pastries if you'd like. It's a great service, and it's really quality. That's the biggest thing, is that you're actually getting, baked goods that kind of warm your heart. For a limited time, you can get $30 off your first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa to start your subscription. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa. Wildgrain.com/papa. You can also just use the promo code PAPA at checkout. Also, we'd like to thank the good people at nuts.com. Whether you're someone who's always on the go, in need of snacks to fuel your day, or simply enjoy a plethora of snack options within arm's reach for nights on the couch, nuts.com is your ultimate snacking destination. This is how I use it, Joey. I always want nuts around. I always want trail mix around. You go to nuts.com, you pick out the stuff that you want. They come in these giant boxes, and they'll give you this great big bag, and inside it, little things to go. My daughter grabs them. My wife takes them off on her way to school. It's just great, and it's fun, and it feels good, and it's delicious. And you always got snacks right at your fingertips. And also, you throw in a couple things that are sweet, and that you don't aren't the healthiest thing in the world, but that you're eating them in moderation. And what's wrong with having fun once in a while? Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, fried fruit, dried fruit, fried fruit, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and more. Their wide selection means that there's something for everyone. They also offer gluten-free options, organic choices, and other diet-friendly products. Shop a la carte at any time or opt into hassle-free auto deliveries so you never run out of your favorite items. Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders of $29 or more at Nuts.com/Papa. So go check out all the delicious options at Nuts.com/Papa. You'll receive a free gift and free shipping when you spend $29 or more. That's Nuts.com/Papa. Two great sponsors, two companies that I truly use. Thanks. So I made this bread for you last night before I came out to the Comedy Cellar. I shaped it, but then I woke up and I made it today. And I know you're in a hotel and stuff, but I hope you can enjoy it.
Yeah, well, what's the, should we eat some now? What should we?
It's up to you if you want to eat some now.
I'd have a piece. I haven't had anything to eat.
You haven't had anything to eat?
Yeah, have we got coffee? What have we got?
We've got coffee. Joey, can you...
You want an espresso?
Yeah, maybe...
Ooh, that sounds nice.
And maybe put some proper clothes on. If there's any out there.
You know, what do you think of this idea? I'm thinking of taking Joey and putting him in a little vest, like you're at Musso and Frank's, like a waiter uniform when you're here.
I love the idea.
Right?
I mean, I'm 100% in. You should be, yes, and a little dicky bow.
Yeah.
But those guys, that waiter in that restaurant, I'm serious, that guy's not comfortable.
No, he's working.
But he's doing a job.
He's doing his job, for crying out loud.
Of course he is.
It's a little difficult to cut because it's just came out of the oven.
And what's the, this is fabulous.
Yeah.
This is a great podcast.
Who
right?
cooked
There's
for you
bread.
when you were little?
My mother was not a great cook. I think I ate pretty
Irish, right?
Yeah, Irish, sort of from Limerick family. So it's a weird thing of like I always kind of talk about this, but your character and your reputation. Like there's that thing of like how people see you
Yeah.
and who you know you are. So I'm like seen as like very, very British. I
Right.
carried an Irish passport and Irish family, Irish parents, very, very Irish.
Oh.
And that kind of feeling slightly other.
Right.
It's kind of amazing
Interesting.
how much how many migrants become comedians.
Right.
And maybe it's a perspective thing.
Yeah. I know. I was going to ask you that, and I guess I can because we're on a podcast. You're so global.
Well, I keep on trying to get Americans to go to other places because
I know.
you go I know it doesn't probably make as much financial sense because America is so huge.
Yeah.
You could tour America for 2-3 years. Do you have any sugar?
Oh,
No.
shit, we don't.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be all right. I'll live.
Sugar, Joey.
Yeah.
Would you like it toasted or not toasted?
Toasted.
Joey, can you toast this for the man?
I mean, this is
We aim to please.
kind of great, isn't it?
Yeah. It's lovely. I'll take an espresso too, please.
This is what are we talking about there?
We were talking about you being global.
Oh, well, the global thing of like going, if you've been going 30 years, I've been going 25 years, there's something about how do you make the best job in the world feel new? Because there's a hedonic treadmill. We get very used to how great our lives are. And one of the things you can do is a gratitude practice of like just trying to be more grateful all the time for how great this is. This is amazing, right? Just sitting here talking to you.
Yeah.
You're an incredible comedian. I love your specials. I'm sitting in a room with you eating bread and drinking coffee.
Yeah.
How
is-
lucky.
You're at work.
But that, yeah. But that thing of like going, and one of the ways I made it feel new was traveling the world and like going to interesting places and doing comedy there. And it's ultimately, it doesn't change much around the world.
Right.
It's always going to be self-selecting because they're choosing to come to see you.
Right.
But it's amazing how you can kind of build an audience in different countries and then go, oh, this is our guy. He's come here. We're going to go and see the show. And,
Yeah.
But
I was thinking about that last night because we're there at the Comedy Store. Everybody's American, and you have really pulled off this amazing thing where you belong there just as much as everybody else. But you grew up in a much different place. You've toured the whole world, but you seem very at home. Like you really seem like you adapt in a very
nice. I mean,
in a very profound way.
I've kind of, I suppose that thing as well, but with the Comedy Store in Los Angeles and the Comedy Cellar in New York, I've really put all my eggs in one basket and spent a lot of time in those clubs. So I'm very, comfortable in those spaces.
Yeah.
And with that kind of group of people that kind of hang around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's very nice of you to say, but I like that thing of the way that those clubs work.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else in the world that has that. I mean, that's really the thing that needs to be exported.
Right.
Like those clubs where people just drop in and do sets. And I think you're going to see way more comedy scenes around the world the next decade.
Yeah.
Because as people get into it, obviously you'll see that it's obviously the big hitters with their huge comedy specials.
Yeah.
And then it filters down and people go, well, I can do this. I might
Right.
do this. I just did, what did I do for the first time? Istanbul.
Really?
It's unbelievable.
Really?
Unbelievable crowds.
Really?
So great.
Man, oh man.
And it's not often we find kind of a new
Jeez.
territory, but it was so fantastic. And it was like, 4 shows kind of sold out in a heartbeat. And we,
So crazy. In Istanbul.
and then it was like, and Istanbul was, I mean, it's so delivered on being, this place is properly incredible.
Wow.
Loved it.
And any beat? Are they behind by a step in your delivery or anything? Or are they
No,
right
I
there?
mean, it's they're pretty much there. I mean, I think it's that thing of going, you have to be a little bit kind of sensitive to they're going to take 4 or 5 minutes to tune into your accent. Because they speak great English, but it's like that thing of like, you sometimes get it when you travel, even within America.
Yeah.
If you're down in Louisiana,
For sure.
it takes you a beat to. Okay, no, I get it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not, it's not crazy, but it takes
Yeah.
a minute. Or travel around the UK. If you go to Newcastle, it takes you a moment just to, okay, well, you got to respect the fact that they're going to tune into me and then they'll be fine.
Do you travel on the plane in the suit?
Yeah.
So great. It's really my hero.
Why
How
don't you
long have I
travel-
been talking about I just want to be in a suit all the time?
Yeah. Well, my tailor's just opened in He's got a place now in Melrose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, go and see him.
All right.
Go and see him. I'll get you a suit. Let's get you dressed.
Let's get me dressed. I got to shoot my next special in a month. Mm-hmm. It's time.
In a month.
Yeah.
So are you
June? Yeah.
Okay, filming the special.
June 15th.
How are you? Because I directed my last special.
You did,
albeit with my friend Brian Klein, who's fabulous. Actually, yeah. And Amanda directed the live show. But what I kind of, so my idea was, why a stand-up special? Sometimes great material. I love this guy. I saw the show live. I'm going to watch it again. Like 30 minutes in, you're like, this may be a bit. And it's 3 shots on rotation. It's the close, the mid, the long.
Right.
The close, the mid, the long.
Right.
Audience shot, close, mid, long, close, mid, long.
Right.
So everything's a moving shot. Everything's a tracking shot. So I've got like a guy on Steadicam that kind of walks around me.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that.
So, those aren't retakes as well. That's like the guy just walk at the beginning of the show.
It wasn't retakes.
No. So I say to the audience at the top of the thing, or I actually got someone to go out and say, look, there's going to be a cameraman on stage sometimes because we're filming tonight for Netflix.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of excited to see behind the curtain of how filming works.
Yeah.
So this guy just comes out with a Steadicam, it's a wonderful Steadicam op, and just rotates around you.
I thought for sure you stopped down and got that shot. Joey, check that toast. I don't want it to burn. I can sense it.
It feels like you should be running a restaurant with that tone.
I could sense it.
Yeah.
See the ding?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Is it okay?
The ding. Who was talking about that recently? Rory Sutherland, who I'm a huge fan of. He's not a comic.
Yeah.
A very entertaining guy, Rory Sutherland. If you ever get a chance to listen to a podcast with him.
Oh, yeah?
He was on Rick Rubin's recently. He's just
cool.
fabulous. But he's talking about
Joey.
the best product that never took off. He was saying there's a see-through toaster. There's a see-through toaster.
Right.
Someone made it. No one's buying it, but everyone should. It's absolutely amazing.
That's perfect.
Don't be shy with that. Is it salted butter?
Salted.
I don't think I can have salted butter in my house.
What?
It's
You
just
go too nuts?
delicious. I would go crazy with that.
There's a French butter that I get from this place that we should have.
Unpasteurized?
Yes.
So, yeah, when they've got like an unpasteurized French butter, you go, I don't know what pasteurization is, if I'm honest, but whatever it's doing, it's taking away from.
It's ruining our.
I think it's not giving us. It's not giving us botulism, sure, but something is lost.
100%. Joey, write down French butter and sugar.
Wow.
We've learned something
this
today.
is what a treat. So you baked this?
Yeah, I baked
So is this?
this.
Do you find that is that your relaxing? Do you get into kind of a state there where you're just? It's like a flow state.
Very calming. And I really found when I started writing my books, it just fit into the rhythm of writing. Like, because you write, and you spend some time at the desk, and then you go and you tend to the bread, and then you come back, and it's like this ebb and flow. And it's very much like comedy in that it's humbling. Like you get really good at it. You really know what you're doing. But at any moment, it could all, it could be a weird night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the souffle might not rise. Mm-hmm. That's really delicious.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's very good.
It's not as earthy as I would like, but I'm using this new bread flour.
Yeah, it's interesting, that thing of like flow states. Like, what's happiness? A lot of it's flow states. We get to do it on stage.
Yeah.
And, even how you define that of like, where do you lose track of time?
Right.
Where you kind of you can't think about anything else.
Yeah.
And often that focus is the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like you kind of want your conscious mind to get out of the way so your subconscious can kind of just sort of relax.
Yeah. It's amazing realizing how much you can feed your subconscious. Like, you don't have to be omnipresent and like, if I haven't performed in like a week on like the long set, just listening to it or just reading it, half distracted, it's being put into the hard drive, and you walk out there, you're much more in tune than if you hadn't. Not even that you're really working that hard on it. You're just giving the information to that part of your brain you're not even really that aware of.
Well, it's kind of the illusion of life, isn't it? There's is it Ian McGilchrist? I think it is. That's the master in his emissary about the left and the right brain. and the idea that we sort of think we're running the show.
Right.
We think the left brain is running the show because it's lists and it's in our society is very kind of set up for the left brain.
Yeah.
But actually, it's the right brain which does kind of the gestalt, the whole thing.
Right.
And they're not doing different jobs, the left and right brain. They're doing the same job, but very differently.
Yeah.
And often it's that thing of like with creativity, it's getting out the way to let things kind of bubble up.
100%. 100%. Do you find that after you're very successful, you have this great career and this, do you feel like it has ultimately been satisfying to you in your life, or do you feel like this feeds me, this does a great thing, I'm content, I really love doing this and getting better, but it ultimately isn't the main spring of happiness?
Well, I think that, I mean, it's a great question. I think there's lots to unpick there, though, in terms of what is happiness and what is satisfaction. Having done things, I don't think brings you happiness. I think doing things brings you happiness, but you get a lot of satisfaction from having done things. So it's the experiencing self, which is about happiness, and the remembered self, which is about satisfaction, and they're both important. And it's finding a balance between the two. So very much enjoying the process of I like being a comedian, I like the job, I like the road, and I think maybe the secret is that it's a feature, not a bug. Everything about it is great.
Right.
Traveling is great.
Right.
Getting up at 5 a.m. for the hotel call is great. The whole thing is great.
Right.
Because the whole thing is about, and you get to perform comedy and think about you work during the day, you collect the money at night.
Right.
You come up with these ideas, you present them to people, they come and see you. It's like you're in the service industry.
Yeah.
And you feel like you've served a lot of people and that you get satisfaction from that. And then the happiness is the day-to-day thing. The happiness for me is it's often, it's either expectations exceeded. I thought the bread would be pretty good. It's better than I thought.
Right.
I'm pretty happy right now.
Yeah.
It's that thing of like, why a birthday's terrible or New Year's Eve is terrible.
Right.
It's going to be the best night ever. It's just okay.
Right. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, but it's not the greatest.
Yeah.
It's that, that thing of like, okay, well, I thought it would be better. But actually, if you're, Tuesday afternoon and it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's that thing of like, it's happiness is your life minus envy. It's George Mack, this friend of mine, came up with this.
Who's George Mack?
George Mack is like, he's a marketing guy, actually. I met him through Chris Williamson, who does Modern Wisdom. And which I saw a thing on Twitter. He was actually a guy I met from Twitter. He posted this thing. He posts on Twitter once a week. It's just mind-blowingly great, George Mack. He's such a smart guy. Kind of marketing. But that idea of like going, happiness, your life, minus envy. Minus what else you're looking at over there. What have they got?
What's everyone else doing?
And everyone, because we only ever see, you might see the life. You're like, oh my God, I'd love to be Tom Papa, traveling around the country, telling jokes. This is fantastic. But of course, they don't see what it takes to be Tom Papa. They don't see the mind you have to have and the work you need to put into that, and they just see the results.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that weird thing of like, if you saw how hard people think they want to be professional athletes.
Right.
No.
Right.
Have you seen their lives?
Yeah.
Have you seen what they have to do?
Yeah.
What are they willing to sacrifice to get that thing?
And it's also the constant looking out that creates the envy. It's like, there's something about being motivated and seeing where you can go, watching other people do what they do, but it really should be in here. It really should. The blinders should be on if you want to eliminate the envy.
I think Pete Holmes said a great thing on recently, and it was the world ordered a stand-up comedian. You got to respect that. Like there's a lot of guys in our industry, and we could all know, like they go off and they want to be in movies.
Right.
What? What's right? We've got loads of actors, and they're better looking than us.
Right.
And they're really good at acting.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you taking bread from their table?
Right.
We've got our little bit that we do. Is this not enough?
I want to go do more.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I think the general public get irritated by it. When an actor wants to be a musician? Okay. I guess.
Right. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. We know who you are. We ordered a comedian.
Right.
Stay being funny.
Yeah. Did you have to wrestle with envy on your way through your career? We all do to some degree.
I think I worked for just long enough in a proper corporate job that I can remember that and
Right.
keep the gratitude there.
Right.
But no, I mean, I started off the first Edinburgh show. Edinburgh's like this big,
Yeah.
the arts festival, and you go and everyone puts on a show. Not the first Edinburgh I did, the second Edinburgh I did. First time I just kind of went and did little sets around the place and loved it. Second time I went up with three friends. I went up with my friend Robin Ince, Steve Merchant, and Ricky Gervais.
Oh, wow.
And Ricky and Steve were working on this thing called The Office. And we were putting together, and we were all kind of in it together. And he was working on The Office with Steve. And it's great to have started with someone that did that.
Yeah.
Because very early on you go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Right.
Have a great time with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my thing.
Right. Right.
Lovely.
Exactly.
It kind of knocks it out of you early.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great thing. I remember, Nick DiPaolo? You remember
Yeah.
Nick DiPaolo?
I did some gigs with Nick DiPaolo. I did a gig once with Nick DiPaolo and Patrice O'Neill.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of anger in this room. You guys seem upset about something. What's going on?
So great. Both so cutting, such great
Oh.
joke writers. I remember Nick getting really pissed off at the Comedy Cellar. We're at the table.
Sorry, Nick DiPaolo got pissed
It
off.
was very unusual. It was an unusual day.
I mean, this is going to go viral. People are,
And
he's
he was
a
really
fabulous comic.
He was
but
really pissed off about a comedian who got something that he thought was not deserved. And
right. He didn't even want the thing.
No, probably not.
He didn't even want it. He just didn't want you to have
He
it.
didn't want that guy to be successful.
I've got like a definition of like envy versus jealousy. Whatever way you want to divide the words, but one is very good, one is very bad. Mm-hmm. Because envy, maybe to a degree, tells you what you want.
Uh-huh.
So if someone gets a Netflix special, you go, well, I want a Netflix special.
Right.
And you go, oh, okay, well, work hard and make it inevitable and write these jokes and take the tour out. And that's good. You know, you want that thing.
Yeah.
And jealousy is that thing of like, I don't want them to have that.
Right.
I don't want them to have that.
Right.
They just got a sitcom. Well, do you want a sitcom? No, but I don't want them to have one either.
Right.
Why?
That's brilliant. Yeah. And I said to Nick, Nick, who cares? I mean, in every business, lawyer, plumber, whatever, there's someone else in their industry who's getting success that maybe you don't feel is warranted. And it happens in every industry. And Nick said, yeah, but only in our business do I have to see that guy's face on the side of a bus.
I often think as well, when someone has success at a huge level and you don't think it's deserved, what's going on is you can't see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So you go, sometimes I work on charisma. Mm-hmm. I've got no charm. There's no warmth here. There's no warmth. There's nothing. But sometimes
You're saying that about yourself?
Yeah. It would be rude if you said it, but yeah. But that thing of like going, sometimes you see a performer and then people will pay to be in a room with that guy.
Yes.
They've gone to see him. They've come to listen to you.
Right.
It's a different thing.
Right.
And sometimes you could be tricked into thinking, oh, you're doing the same thing. No, you're doing a very different thing. Mm-hmm. And why? So sometimes, sometimes
So true.
people will go, oh, that guy's playing arenas, but his material's terrible. And you go, yeah, but have you seen how he performs?
Right.
It's balletic. This guy's incredible.
Yeah.
And you can't recognize that. It's almost like, I suppose, a classical musician going, who are these guys? AC/DC. This is nothing.
Right.
It's very different to what you do.
Right, exactly.
It's a really different style.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times you can't do what that person's doing. You
also,
literally can't do that.
And again, back to gratitude, as I always try and, you go, that person's making the cake bigger.
Right,
The person playing the stadium is making it bigger.
That's right.
They go, because a proportion of those people that went to see them will go, well, we had a great time at comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy Store, please.
I had a moment of that. Someone came to a theater show I was doing recently somewhere, and Nate had and it was a young person, like the 14-year-old who brought the parents, and they were just trying to knock off their favorite comedians, and they were just so happy to be there. And they said, we just saw Nate last week. And I said, oh, where was he playing? And because everywhere I go, they're like, you're sold out tonight. Great job. Nate was here. He was playing that football arena across the street.
He played the Enormo Dome.
Right, exactly. And you're like, well, I felt good for...
How big is the Enormo
I felt good
Dome?
for 30 minutes. And, but I said to them, like, so where was Nate playing? You know, he's a good friend of mine. And he said, oh, yeah, he played in that place where the Pacers play or whatever, where the sports team plays. It meant nothing to them. It meant nothing to this kid and the parents. It was like, no, we saw him last week and we're seeing you tonight.
Yes, you're as important in their heads.
It's
also that thing, it's a very good judge of whether someone is a real friend or your frenemies.
Right.
Like, if their success is your success.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes someone gets something and you just go, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's playing, 10 nights at Radio City Musical.
Right.
It's my boy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. If it's somehow you go,
Right.
you need to, oh, okay, let's pause for a second there and think about what's going on.
Right. Is that person really your friend?
Yeah, well, it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird as well what we choose to be jealous of. Like, it's often like the sibling rivalries. Like the guys you came up with in your generation. Who were the guys that you came up with, and where are they now?
Right.
And if I asked you to name them, I'm sure it would be you name the ones that are doing fabulously well.
Right.
And you don't name the ones that no one's ever heard of.
Right.
So you only look to that, and those are the ones that you tend to be, because you're closest to them. Somehow, you being in the same class at high school is So you can be jealous of them, but you can't be jealous of someone 10 years younger, because you go, well, that's a different thing.
Yeah. I was talking with someone who I'd started with back in New York when we were kids, and we were talking about like so and so died, and there was this one girl, Jackie, who just was brighter than all of us, and she just stopped, and we were like, wait, whatever happened to Jackie? I was like, why? How could she was so good? Where did she go? It's amazing that in those early days, like, there were people funnier than everybody who, for whatever reason, don't end up still around 30
But
years.
it is that thing of like going, funny isn't the only metric in comedy. How badly you want it and how hard you're willing to work.
Yeah.
Tell me what you want. Now tell me what you're willing to sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice to do that? What would you give?
Right. Yeah.
And we were willing to give everything?
Everything. Without thinking about it.
Without
even considering.
And it wasn't work for us.
No.
It was, we found something. We're very lucky people. We found something that felt like play to us. So no one could compete, because to do 12 hours a day, it's nothing for me.
Nothing.
They want me to get up at this time and fly there to do what? To do 2 shows? Yeah,
Done.
Done. Great.
When I think back of like the amount of money young Tom was living on in the beginning of comedy, literally some weeks $5 a night. Like, this new Tom would be panicked. I'd be like, just take me to the emergency room. I'll never make it. And that kid was so happy. I can get a bagel and an orange juice off of $5 a night. Yeah. Just so happy. Just so pleased. So now that you have children, do you feel you obviously have a good grip on life and a good perspective? Do you feel like is it your job to impart this on your children, or just kind of let it fly?
I think there's a responsibility there, isn't there, to kind of yes. Are you asking? Do you think?
Well,
do I think I need to parent?
No.
No, I'm going to wing it. I'm going to wing it. I'm going to step back.
No, but there is a thing. I carry a lot of what I think is some wisdom, but there's, when you're in a parenting situation, there is I feel like the lessons I've actually taught them happened when I wasn't trying to teach them.
Well, I don't think they'll ever listen to what you say. They'll look at what you do.
Right.
So that thing of like going, well, okay, if I have a work ethic, they might, some of that's just, I mean, it's also how much is factory settings, and how much do we have a say?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
my kids are exactly the same.
But that nature nurture thing, you go, people go, it's about 50-50 nature nurture. But a lot of nurture is nature, because it's how you chose to create their environment.
Yeah.
And really, their environment is only us for the first kind of 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's school and the world.
Are you touring any less?
I'm touring differently.
Right.
So I now do 2 shows a night, a 7 and a 9:30, and so it's fewer dates in a year,
Right.
and I do fewer days of the week.
Right.
So I have like full days at home, and I'm at home most of the day. I mean, most of my touring is in the UK, even though I play 45 countries. Most of it's in the UK.
Right.
So most of the time, I'm kind of around.
Yeah.
I don't need to set off too early.
That's great.
I kind of like that thing of arriving, like in the UK, you drive or get the train or whatever. Arriving
Right.
15 minutes before I go on is like, that's the absolute dream.
Yeah, I know. There is a part of me, though, on the road where I'm in the hotel and they're like, sound check is, doors open early at this place, so the sound check's an even hour before that. If you show up for sound check, you're going to be there for 2.5 hours before your show.
I haven't done a sound check.
You never do a sound check?
I've never done a sound check.
Never?
My tour manager, Gav, God love Gav,
Right.
Does the sound check for me.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking with this voice. The sound man's going to be there during the show, is he? Okay. Well, if it feeds back, turn it down. There you go. Okay, I think we got this.
Yeah.
It's also like the sound check is, I think that's them going, oh, we've got a performance this evening.
Right.
We need a sound check.
Right.
But what they're thinking is an orchestra or a rock and roll band
Right.
are playing in this venue. No, it's just me with
Just
one.
me.
It's one mic.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine.
But
Stop treating us like we're in real show business.
Right. But I do find that lately I just had this weird thing of I'd rather be backstage than here in my hotel. Like I get to go to the show. I'm going to the show now.
Yeah, I do like the especially sort of in the States the last couple of years. Some of the theatres that you get to be in at the backstage areas, and they've got the pictures of the guys that have played, and you go, oh wow,
Yeah.
Well, those kind of big rooms. I got to do Chicago theatres like
Yeah.
phenomenal, or Carnegie, or the Wang in Boston.
Yeah.
It's very special kind of spaces.
You see those people, those bands, those legends that were on that same stage. It's mind blowing.
It really is.
And then you get to walk out there too.
Yeah. How did this happen?
Yeah, is anyone aware? Okay.
but it's also like that thing of, to the comedy's kind of, this is a golden age. You kind of go, well, yeah, no one was doing this in the 70s.
Right. Right.
George Carlin and Richard Pryor may be touring a little bit, but not to not the same extent.
No, not at all. Where's your writing at now? How's your head? Because you have the special out.
So special out. So I've got the new tour show, which is Laughs Funny, and done. So I do a thing where I write, I do new stuff every show.
Every show.
So the end of 90 minutes on stage, I pull out a piece of paper and I do new jokes.
Oh, that's great.
And if they work, great. And if they don't, so if they work, I'll try them a couple of times and then bank them. And then the writing process for the new show is just ordering that stuff that works.
Right.
And letting the audience decide really on kind of what's getting the bigger laugh, so now it's kind of an editing phase where you're kind of getting rid of stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just being parsed out. Did you ever drink on tour?
No, I didn't drink for the first 12 years of doing comedy.
Oh, yeah?
I kind of drinking a bit before, not like problem drinking, but drinking a bit before. And as soon as I found comedy, there was something in me that just went, this is the thing. I got one shot at this, and a hangover isn't going to help.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
came very early on of seeing guys kind of after the show being bought drinks, and every night's a party.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going out after the show?
Yeah.
No, there's 2 shows a night.
I know. I'm crawling back to my room.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I never understood it. That, and also any activity during the day, I know is going to take away from the show that night. I'll go to coffee if I want to see a friend. I'm not taking my brain to a museum and knocking it around and
I
paragliding.
I think there's a thing about diet on the road, and everyone thinks about what they eat. They get that focus, but no one thinks about their kind of intellectual diet of like, what are you taking in that's making you happy, that's uplifting, that's great. Because if you watch, I don't know, just the Kardashians,
right,
or do whatever, Love Island or something, you okay, that's all processed fast food.
That reaction is exactly how I feel when I see that stuff.
But if you listen to interesting things, or like, I love a book on tape, and I love a kind of, and it's also kind of, I don't quite know where you get material or why you decide to joke about that thing. But
Yeah.
it tends to be you're going to heard something and it's in the ether, it's out there. So listening to great stuff, for me, that kind of diet of, because you're on your own a lot
Yeah.
and thinking.
Yeah.
And that's the work.
Do you read a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I always think I should read more, but I read, a lot of nonfiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you reading now?
Well, I'm trying to read Ian McGilchrist, the Master of Chemistry, but it's pretty. It's like I like to kind of stretch myself a little bit.
Yeah.
It's. I was trying to read Parfit's Reasons and Persons, but that's again.
Yeah.
It's like
A heavy lift.
it's a heavy lift. It's like
Yeah.
it's like being back at college. It like feels like this is really good. I think the best thing I read in the last year is my big book club. Tim Urban wrote this book called What's Our Problem, and genuinely changed my mind on like a lot of things.
Oh, really?
A brilliantly put together book, almost like a self-help book for society, of like how people think about things and whether they think like what is his it's like you either think like a scientist, absolutely, even just weighing up the information. You think like a sports fan, where you have a side, but fairness is important. The rules of the game.
Right.
You think like an attorney, where it's like you're on one side and you don't even want to see the other one. You're die hard, or you think like a zealot. So it's not really about left or right. It's about how you think about things.
Right.
It's an entertaining, brilliant book. He's got an amazing.
Were you one
website.
way and
I think
put more
everyone's.
thoughtfulness and went to a different?
I think everyone's different on different things.
Yeah,
like when you sort of
right.
think about your. It's one of my favorite questions. Is what's the last thing you changed your mind about? Because you kind of go, well, if you haven't got an answer to that,
Yeah.
you haven't been thinking.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it should change. Like, it's a weird thing that we're awful to politicians. We go, oh, the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You said,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but I mean,
you ran on this,
But you have to remember, Obama ran on no gay marriage.
right?
Of course he did, because that's what was going on at the time. But then new information came
Yeah,
in.
and then switch it up.
Yeah, fine.
What is the last thing you changed your mind on? Do you have anything big?
They're like the big things you kind of read about, whatever the
Yeah.
probably be
In favor of Putin?
yeah, huge fan. I don't know. It kind of it ebbs and flows. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sort of the big sort of societal things, maybe environmentalism, where you go, well, clearly something is going on, and what to be done about it is the question.
Yeah.
And the what to be done, that kind of I don't think someone gluing throwing tomato soup over a painting is going to make any difference down the line.
Really? You don't see that being effective?
I don't see that being effective.
It just warms everybody onto their side, and
Just,
yeah, I think technologically we'll probably find our way out of it. That's my hope. Is
Yeah.
that great minds that are working on different ways of tackling the problem, because there's no,
I sort of think we've done it. I thought we did it. We split the atom. We've got that energy.
right.
We've released a huge amount of energy, and we haven't used it. We've only used it to scare ourselves.
Yeah.
And we've already got the downside. We've already got all these nuclear weapons, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the upside is we don't need to burn any fossil fuels.
Yeah. The whole place could run on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the testing's been done. If I said to you, we're going to start nuclear testing, what are we going to do? We're going to stick 60 guys in a tube and put them underwater and see if they can live next to a nuclear reactor. Say, we cannot do that test.
Right.
Well, the good news is we have.
Right.
We've done that for the last 70 years.
Yeah,
Guys have been underwater next to a nuclear reactor, sleeping in bunks, and they're all fine.
They're out there right now.
They're out there right now, patrolling the seas. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I suppose the other big thing I changed my mind about recently was like American foreign policy. It's boring, but that's the thing I changed my mind about.
Really?
Yeah.
You think we're the good guys now?
I think we haven't been grateful enough at the rest of the world for what America did the last 70 years. Like since the Cold War, the idea that isolationism, you went anti-isolation and you policed the seas. The American Navy made globalization possible and trade possible. And as America becomes more isolationist with every president since the fall of the Berlin Wall, you notice things are popping off.
Right.
The world is becoming less safe. People are
A little more
well,
dangerous.
if they don't have that many, if they can't police all of this area, then maybe we can mess around. So yeah, it's that kind of
Yeah. It's I just had my my nephew over, and he's I guess communist, and
He's what, sorry?
communist,
He's a communist. I mean, that's
as close as you can get.
that blows my mind. The idea that we learned one lesson from the last 100 years of history, which is like fascism is wrong, and people are walking around in a Chairman Mao t-shirt. You go, do you know what Mao did? Do you know how many people he
died?
killed?
Yeah,
And how many people Stalin died? And you go, oh, and they say it's never been tried properly.
yeah.
What? Well, no one's saying that about National Socialism, you lunatic.
I know, but they just hate America. They really do hate America, and
I don't see it. I can't see what the...
there is a we are imperialists, and we cause suffering around the world, and we did it here, and we continue to do it around the world. And
Sorry,
there's
just
no
one side of the equation. Yeah, we'll just look at one side of the equation. We won't talk about the medicine. We won't talk about healthcare. We won't talk about the improvements in transportation. We won't talk about what's America given the world. Never mind culturally, but just in terms of airplanes.
Right.
They're handy, aren't they? I'll tell you what's good: motor cars. Aren't motor cars good? Isn't the modern city? That's a nice place to live, isn't it? Like the
Right.
stuff that you just sort of take for granted.
Yeah.
In that equation where you go, imperialism bad. But
Yeah.
you don't take any of the. I mean, if
it's the perfection. It's the if it's not perfect, then it's shit.
But that's my issue with communism as well, is it's very much religious. So if you promise someone heaven, then of course by any means necessary,
Right.
heaven for everyone, the perfect world, by any means necessary.
Right.
It doesn't matter how many people need to die, we can get to this place.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of religious zealots, but also communists. Like if they famously ask, I think it was Eric Hobsbawm, who was the communist historian, and they asked him on his deathbed. They said, "Look, 60 million people have died in the quest for communism."
In Russia,
That was Russia, China. That was if you add them
put them all together.
Yeah, I think it was 60 million. I mean, the numbers don't even make sense. And they said, if communism could be achieved and it took another 60 million, would it be worth it? And he said yes.
Whoa.
You go, well, that's a madman.
Right.
You're mad. You're mad as a nail.
60 million people.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But there is that undercurrent. It is a very strange thing. Like, it really is frustrating.
This is, sorry, I've probably said this on too many podcasts, but for me, traveling around America, this is objectively the best place in the world and subjectively the worst. Mm-hmm. The idea that people think it's, we're really divided as a nation.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No, you're not. Mm-hmm. You're thinking of Syria.
Right.
That's divided as a nation. When you look, compared to what as well? What's your alternative? It's kind of great, and we're living in these kind of amazing. I mean, I'm very positive as a person.
Yeah, me too.
And I think a lot of the time, kind of people, saying they're communists. Where does your cousin nephew? Where's he from?
Back east
In
New Jersey.
And he's a communist, is he?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty close.
I don't think they're going to take New Jersey.
I just
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, there's just a hatred for the country. There's a hatred for both parties. There's a hatred for everything we've done. There's a great shame. If you have a flag, you're a fool. If you say we've done great things, you're naive.
I think the Cold War was won. How many people have been liberated from poverty the last 20 years? Mm-hmm. How many through technology and through globalization, which was all facilitated by America. Mm-hmm. America didn't need to do that.
Right.
Just look at the facts. America is a net exporter of fuel and a net exporter of food. Mm-hmm. You don't need the rest of the world. We need you. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's to hate.
Right.
I kind of don't get it.
I don't get it either. And even on social issues, it's great to be frustrated as a young person and want things to be better. That's great. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But the way we treat women, the way we treat LGBTQ, it's so far ahead of most places in the world. I understand you being frustrated and it's not perfect, but just to be a woman in this country is much better than other places.
Yeah.
To say that we're like awful because it's not perfect. That argument is just
Yeah, I mean, I think the Steven Pinker thing is you know, the better angels of our nature. That idea of, look, this is the best the world has ever been, and is it perfect? No, but we're moving in a direction.
yeah, we're still headed there, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it seems, I don't know, and
Yeah.
that thing of like, comedy's in this wonderful place
Mm-hmm.
where it's people are coming out and they're laughing, and that doesn't happen in quite a lot of nations.
Right. Yeah. We're
You know?
where borscht is the main thing on the menu. Yeah. No, it's joyful. I keep wanting to like pull them out of it. Like, you can have fun. You can enjoy yourself. It's not all falling apart.
Yeah, maybe
But it is a generational thing. They do definitely feel, and I think from seeing firsthand at a young age things on their phone of like actually see the suffering that goes on in the world, it creates an imbalance in their brains.
Yes. Well, it's also that thing of like, you know, the kind of Maslow's hierarchy of need. You know, you need your food and your shelter and your safety kind of first before you can start thinking of these higher order things,
Right.
like purpose and meaning in life. And it strikes me that we've solved all of the low level ones.
Yeah.
You know, that people
You don't
are-
even think about it.
You don't. Of course not. No. You know, there's no one that's poor in America as we would have understood poor 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Because it's a different.
Yeah.
A third of the world don't have flushing toilets.
Right.
So it's you know. but
Yeah.
we get used to this thing, and that's easy for us to say. I'm
Right.
sure is the comment section. Good luck. But
Right.
but then everyone 100 years ago, when there was lots of poverty, had purpose. They kind of knew what they were meant to do. Mm-hmm. And often there's a lack of purpose.
Yeah. No, that is a huge thing.
I think it's a big thing for nations as well.
It's a huge thing. There was when there's a struggle and every day is going off and how are we going to survive today? You're not thinking about your mood. You're not thinking about whether or not you're anxious or you just don't. You've got work to do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a blessing and a curse to be as comfortable as we are.
Well, is that the great sadness of kind of America? And it used to be kind of to feed a family and to bring up your kids and to provide for them. You were kind of a hero.
Yeah.
Kind of that was you put bread on the table, literally and metaphorically, and you took care of your people.
Yeah.
And you had your place in the world. You were a hero. I still subscribe to that. I still think
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Just
that thing of like was it the last special or the one before? You're doing great.
you're doing great. Yeah, 2 ago.
It's kind of that thing
It resonated.
It really did, because people kind of watch it and go, yeah,
Yeah.
we're,
Thank you for saying it. That's what people would say.
we're doing so well. We even made it out to a show.
Right. Yeah.
We got everything's done.
Yeah.
We booked a babysitter. We got the car sorted. We got here.
Yeah.
We've eaten.
Yeah. It's actually, yeah. And walking around, everyone's walking around with, what's next? How much more? How much more? How much more? And the reason it became the special is because people were literally coming up to me after shows saying, thank you for saying that. I feel like I'm doing the best I can and everything's all right, right? And I was like, I'm just a comedian up there throwing a line, but yeah, you're doing great. And then, oh, thank you.
I think it really suits you. Yeah. What's the theme of the next one? What's the?
It seems to be taking shape that my children have been raised and have left, and I've completed a mission, and I have now the freedom to go back to discovering who I used to be, and my wife as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was kind
It's
of
not as deep. It's a lot more personal. It's a lot more of, oh, I can drink now. What's this microdosing you guys are talking about?
Yeah.
All that kind of thing.
It's kind of nice though, isn't it? That idea of, I kind of found that with parenting, it's like the bullshit involved in parenting, where you have to pretend you don't like watching TV for hours on end, and you love broccoli. I tell you what, we're into broccoli. Yum 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 yum.
Yeah.
No, no. It would be me and your mother. We'll smash a McDonald's and watch
A murder.
a 4-hour documentary on Netflix. That's a weekend, kids.
Yeah.
Never mind this. Oh, we love walking in the park.
You know?
We love fresh air and broccoli.
Yeah.
Total bullshit.
Total bullshit. I
Yeah.
feel like I say that in my act. I feel like I've been play acting for 18 years. I've been pretending to be Superman, a guy who's fearless and has everything under control. And now my kids know I'm just a guy, and they're lucky to be alive.
The bit last night. I don't want to ruin the bit for the special part. The bit about the darkness, I found so funny.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Because you never, I don't know. It's I suppose that realization of like it's very Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
The idea that you never really feel. No one ever goes, "You're a grown up now."
Right. No.
We're all play acting.
Yeah, you're just thrown in it. How old are your kids now?
Oh, they're young.
They're young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny.
I've got plenty of time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do take lots of pictures. It's the only way you'll remember any of it.
Yeah.
I
try and just focus on they'll never be this small again.
Yeah.
Try and enjoy this. They'll never be this small.
There's so much. It's so great.
I get annoyed when they get things right. I get annoyed. Like
I know.
like when they can't say a word.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then they say it right and you go, well, they're never going to get it wrong again.
I was thinking of
Someone
this.
corrected my boy saying a word. What are you doing? It's adorable.
Yeah, my daughter used to say avocado.
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 Of course.
We've been saying avocado ever since. There's no avocados in my house. There's avocados.
Avocados. It's nicer. What's the famous one? Butterfly is the famous one, isn't it?
Butterflies.
Butterfly is a kid made a mistake. It was a flutterby.
A flutterby.
And someone called it a butterfly. Stuck.
I was in New York in a hotel, and there was a fire alarm went off in the middle of the night. And, in the hotel, you're like, am I really getting out of bed?
Please.
Is this place really ablaze? And
This is crazy. Ladies, you got to go. Classic Tom Papa. You two have got to go. You can stay.
And the guy came on, the head of security came on and gave an announcement. And he was a guy who's never got over his childhood saying things wrong. And he got on and said, everything's okay. Stay in your rooms. The fire trucks are here.
Oh! That would make me think, if this guy's in charge, I'm going to leave. I'm not taking a chance.
Get your shoes. The fire trucks are here. A grown man. Oh, adorable when as a kid. When you're a kid, you're like...
Was there anything more to the message? Did he say, so you might want to look out the windows because they've got the lights on?
I like the wet ones.
Oh.
Oh, so it was brilliant. I'm like, wow, that didn't instill much confidence. It's adorable when he was 2. I'm sure everyone applauded him. And he just stuck with it.
Bless his little heart.
What's your show tonight? You have a big show tonight.
I've got the, it used to be called the Ace Hotel, and it's now called...
It's where I was.
It's now called the...
United.
No, it's now called used to be the Ace Hotel.
It really is.
That's what it's now called.
That's how I was promoting it the whole time.
I used to have a bit about that. I never quite made it work.
Yeah.
Never made it to a special with the idea that there's Pepsi should be called Is Pepsi All Right? Because no one's ever ordered a Pepsi.
Right.
Would
No,
you,
we don't.
I'd like a Coke. Is Pepsi all right? Well, I think you know it isn't. But yeah, I guess.
But your boss bought it, so give it to me. Beautiful theater. Have you been in there?
No, not been in.
Oh, it's gorgeous. If you get there, well, I know you get there right as they're saying your name, but
I like
after
that,
the show, take a
that
look
thing
at the
sometimes
ceiling.
when they walk in to a theater and they go, "Oh, this is already good.
Yeah.
This is already. Oh, we got.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
We're in this place and we don't even have to sit through an opera. Excellent.
You're gonna love it, and it's right up on you. It's a good one. I think you'll really enjoy it. This is our last chance because we're gonna go back out, and I'm gonna go do a show in a different place, and you're gonna do a show in a different place, and hopefully we'll be closer and be able to see each other more often. I would enjoy that.
Come to the rest of the world. I'll be there.
All right.
Have
Anything?
you toured in the UK? Have you?
Very little. I did the.
I've got great news.
Yeah.
I've got great news. Your kids have left.
Yeah, they did.
You can now travel the world.
I know.
You could now say, well, I'm going to do gigs in London and Scotland and Dublin, and I'm going to do gigs in Australia, and I'm going to travel a little bit.
Yeah.
And by the way, you don't have to work 7 nights a week. You could just come to London and do 2 shows and
Right.
stay there for 5 days. And, you know,
Right.
that thing of like, how do you want your life to be?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
I know.
Amsterdam. People will. It's also that thing of like a 3-tour plan's really good on that, where you kind of go, well, the first one, I'll let them know who I am,
Right.
but those people are going to tell their friends because they have a great time. They'll come. It'd be a bigger venue the next
Right.
time, bigger.
Right. And then you just roll through it.
But that thing of like that could be amazing.
I know. If only the dogs are going to have to pass, but we can work that out.
How old are the dogs?
Yeah, not old enough. They're pretty healthy.
Yeah.
But-
Okay.
But they do have runaway instincts.
These kids are in college. Yeah.
Yes.
Great news, kids. Great news. We got you a dog. Your mother and I are very worried about you. Security wise,
Right.
we got you a dog to look after.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. All right, we can ask each other one last question of each other, because if we see each other at the Comedy Store, we won't ask a question in the same way that we would in a interview podcast setting.
You shoot. You.
I go first?
Yeah. Now let's set the tone.
Okay. Let's see. What do I want to know? Do you... I really got all the suit stuff out. Okay. Do you have... Now that you're a father and you have little children, do you feel like since you had children, the world is a more hopeful place or a more fragile place?
More hopeful. I mean, definitely more hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great book by David Deutsch called The Beginning of Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it, and it's basically this guy saying that the scientific meme is the great thing. There have been roughly 100 billion people that have ever existed that we would recognize as human beings. And there may be trillions in the future. We may go multiplanetary. We may go on for billions of years. This could be just the beginning of things.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't
I like
that an
that.
incredible thought
I like that.
to go, this could be
Yeah.
the beginning of infinity.
We're the
This might-
cavemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, and it will just expand and expand and expand. And at every point in the last 200 years, people have gone, oh my God, we've had such a run of progress.
Mm-hmm.
It's over now, of course. This is the finished iteration of society. But what a run we had the last 50 years.
Yeah.
It could never increase again, obviously. But this has been amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's increased and increased and
Yeah.
increased and got better and better and better.
I do have that feeling lately, looking at cities. I feel like we're going to look at these cities that we've really come as far as we can. We're going to look at them as caves. We're going to look at them as rudimentary tree forts that we built. They're just like big and clunky and misshapen. Like
I tell you what doesn't get the praise it deserves, suburbia.
yeah.
Like
I know.
all the cities that are like the best places to live in the world, it's like Melbourne and Toronto,
Yeah.
places that urbanized relatively slowly. So they built outwards
Right.
and they had great transport links in. So people could live out and have a house with a garden,
Yeah.
a front yard and a backyard, and a great place to bring up kids.
Yeah.
And
Some
those
trees.
always like the nicest thing. You need to be in nature.
Yeah.
Because we've kind of lost God, so you need nature because you need to feel like something's bigger.
Right. All right. I like that. More hopeful. Good job, kids.
Question.
Yes.
Okay. When you pass, there's going to be an obituary. It's going to be on the news. John Papa, national treasure.
Yes.
They're going to play a clip of you. They're going to play a little bit of you on stage in that moment. What joke?
Well, for the message, I think it's the you're doing great. You don't realize it, but this is prime time. You're living it right now. In the not too far distant future, people are going to ask you to do something and you're going to say, "Are there stairs?" You're doing great.
And then the obituary will say, ironically, he died falling down the stairs.
Right, exactly. And he couldn't make it. But I have the one joke that I really love that people kind of linger on was a joke about how we're all disgusting when we sleep. All of us, we're all disgusting when we sleep. Have you ever seen your favorite pillow without its pillowcase? It looks like a bandage from the Civil War. For some reason, image.
It's a great turn of phrase.
Right.
You've never thought about a bandage from the Civil War before.
Right.
It may never come up again, but somehow you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's conjured it.
100%. And
That's lovely.
just a name drop, I did a show for Clint Eastwood's family, and it was late at night.
Well, they need cheering up.
And we were at his hotel, and the restaurants were closed, and he's like, I'll try and get you some food. Let's go over to the restaurant. And we're walking from the area across this gravel driveway in the dark. Me and Clint Eastwood. And Clint says, I got to tell you, every night when I go to sleep, I think about that Civil War bandage joke when I put my head on my pillow.
Wow.
I was like, I guess I'll retire. I guess that's it. I guess I'm not going to top it.
Isn't that a lovely thing?
Lovely.
Oh,
So perfect.
send on that.
Yeah,
Right.
so great. All right, we got it, Joey.